What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast.
Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. I've been working on the nightclub project for the past few days, and I've made some great progress. I still have not plugged it in. However, I've finished shopping all the units in the head, oiled the leather clutches in the mixer and the control unit, and I have done a Playfield swap. At least mostly. Actually, that's still partially in progress. So, the game that came back with me had a rougher Playfield, and I had a Playfield blank. Not a blank, but a screen Playfield with no surrounds or any hardware that I had purchased, and I decided to swap it because that Playfield that I had was in better shape than the one that came with the game. So, in order to do this, it works like a wood rail Playfield. The actual Playfield itself has these wood surrounds which make up the ball arch and the apron. And those have to be separated from the game. The arch and the apron are held in place by several small nails. Those nails are hammered from the bottom of the playfield through and into the surround or the apron. Now the trick is lining everything up. You have to make sure that there is enough room for the ball to be lifted and travel up the shooter lane, and for the playfield to fit comfortably back in the game. This requires some measuring and planning instead of just slapping it in place. So, I had the wood surrounds from a spare double-up playfield that came with my double-up game, and I was able to salvage those, and I've used those to build the wood surrounds for the nightclub. Something else that came home with me from New Jersey was a Miss Bowling Turbo playfield, which was mostly populated. This included the lamp springs, as well as all the playfield posts, and the side rebound springs, and a variety of screws and so forth, which I've been able to cannibalize. My initial plan for this playfield was something entirely different, but I will have to come back to that idea at a later date. For now, I've taken the parts from this playfield and reused them on the nightclub playfield. Now here's the interesting thing. Pretty much all Bally Bingo playfield parts are interchangeable. That's one of the beautiful things about Bally Bingos. The posts were always the same size. The lamp springs were always the same type. So you don't have to worry as much about taking a part from another Bally Bingo playfield and putting it in a different one. There are a couple of exceptions, like rollover buttons, which change design, and the assembly that holds the rebound rubber in place. Just a couple of minor things like that, but everything else is pretty much reusable back and forth. So this Miss Bowling Turbo was made by WIMI, It's a solid-state bingo that came from Belgium, I believe. And the parts are subtly different than they are on a Bally bingo. Now, if you listen to the discussion that Vic Camp and I had when I actually went up to Jersey, we talked about GAA, which made his new Continental Golden, and what they had done was order the entire run of Bally's new Continental. Or was it just Continental? I forget at this moment. But that was the only solid-state bingo that Bally had produced. They shipped them all over to Belgium, and then that company was able to take that design and carry on with it. They made bingos for many years. Well, a couple of things they did differently. There are posts that hold the springs in on the playfield on the sides. I call those the rebound springs. You can bank the ball off of them, and if you have a good new spring, it allows for much more active play. But these rebound springs are held in place with posts, a series of posts that run up the sides of the playfield and culminate in this little V which goes underneath the ball return hole. So you can actually bank a ball back up into, say, 24 if it's rolling down towards the ball return with a well-timed nudge. At any rate, those posts are slightly larger than Bally had manufactured them. Only slightly. Also, the lamp springs that sit in front of the lamp covers, the light shields, also slightly bigger. So the problem is, I'm working on a game from 1956, and the holes which are in the playfield are a little bit smaller than the parts that I have. And these parts, I took some metal polish to them. They shined up excellently. I mean, mirror finish, great. So I was really keen to use these parts because they look fantastic. The springs are very springy. They're not all worn out, meaning the lamp springs. And the side springs cleaned up very well. Everything is just gorgeous, so I wanted to use it if I could. So what I ended up doing, and this is blasphemy to some, but I took a file and I was able to enlarge the hole slightly to put the posts in, then hammered them true, and everything is installed on the top side of the playfield. On the bottom side, I have the wire harness built and all of the playfield switches I was able to salvage. They were in the bottom of the game, and I hadn't seen that earlier. I feel like a doofus, but I did find that stuff. So I moved it over to the new playfield, and everything should be ready there. I'm waiting on a few more parts, like the motor that moves the shutter board underneath, and a couple other smaller parts. Beyond that, I got the posts and pins and springs. Everything's installed topside, but I ran out of rubber. So the game is supposed to be all white rubber, and the way that I've always done it is that I put black rubber on the red posts. There are 4 red posts that form a T down at the bottom of the playfield. the black rubber has slightly less bounce than the white rubber, and so it makes it a little harder to hit holes like 15, 16, 17, and 20 or 21, depending on how you play. I kind of like that extra challenge, so I've left it as is. Now, I've certainly played games with all white rubber, and those play very well, and it makes it quite a bit easier to hit those numbers. But my personal preference is to have black rubber on those 4 red posts. So, at the moment, I had a whole bunch of black rubber, so I've got like the first 2 rows all black in Nightclub at the moment, and that's just placeholder. I've got to put an order in for some white rubber, and then we'll be all good. But just thought I'd go over some of what's involved in a bingo playfield swap, but honestly, it is not very difficult, and it's something which I would certainly do again, given the opportunity. Like any playfield swap, there's mess involved, and there are many staples which must be removed and replaced that hold the harness in place. But overall, once it's done, you have a nice playfield in your game, you'll be pretty satisfied. So, that's all for tonight. Thank you again for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at nbaldridge, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. You can also call us on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.